Racism is unfortunately something the world is still dealing with. It is expected in the modern world that people are accepting of each other, no matter the colour of their skin or where they come from in the world. The reality though is that people around the world are still judged for these things. Formula One's We Race as One campaign has aimed to eliminate racism and prejudice from Formula One, but two prominent members of the racing community proved this week that the campaign is falling short of its goal. We're going to give you all the details on Yuri Vips and Nelson Piquet, so stick around for the rest of the video. The actions of both Yuri Vips and Nelson Piquet have landed them in big trouble in recent weeks. Both use racial slurs in public and have rightfully been called out for it. We'll cover what they've done and what the response has been, but let's start with Yuri Vips. Yuri Vips is an Estonian racing driver that currently competes in Formula 2. Until the 28th of June, he was also a member of the Red Bull Academy and a test driver for the Red Bull F1 team, as well as their reserve driver. He used a racist slur in a live-streamed game he was playing with fellow Red Bull junior Liam Lawson. Vips also used homophobic language on a separate occasion in the same stream. Red Bull said in a statement posted on social media, "We condemn abuse of any kind and have a zero-tolerance policy to racist language or behaviour within our organisation." Vips, who drove for Red Bull in first practice at the Spanish Grand Prix last month, had issued an apology via Instagram shortly after the incident, describing his language as entirely unacceptable and saying that he deeply regretted his actions. An apology does not excuse his actions though, nor does it clear him of any wrongdoing. Racism is unacceptable in all walks of life, and that includes the motor racing community. While he may be sorry for his actions, he still has to deal with the consequences of them. Yuri has been let go from the Red Bull Academy and fired as a Red Bull test and reserve driver. Vips is currently 7th in this year's Formula 2 Championship with High-Tech Grand Prix, for whom he was racing with Red Bull backing. His future with the team is unclear. In what has been a dark week for acceptance and inclusivity in Formula 1, footage of Nelson Piquet using a racial slur to describe Lewis Hamilton after the 2021 British Grand Prix has come to light. This is YouTube, so I'm not going to tell you exactly what Nelson or Yuri said, but you can find out easily enough for yourself if you want to. Piquet was discussing the accident between Hamilton and Red Bull driver Max Verstappen on the first lap of last year's British Grand Prix. Hamilton had tried to make a move up the inside of Verstappen at Copse Corner, but clipped the Dutch driver's rear wheel, sending him flying into the barriers. Piquet described the incident as a joke and said Hamilton had been lucky only Verstappen crashed, and used a racial slur in expressing his opinion that Hamilton had made a mistake. Piquet has a history of making unsavoury and unpleasant statements. During his driving career, he publicly questioned Ayrton Senna's sexuality and called his rival the Sao Paulo taxi driver. He also made offensive comments about Nigel Mansell and the Britain's wife when they were teammates at Williams. Piquet, who is a 3-time Formula 1 world champion, will have to deal with the consequences of his actions just like Yuri did. Piquet has been condemned by Formula 1, Hamilton's Mercedes team, and the FIA. "It's more than language," said 7-time world champion Hamilton. "These archaic mindsets need to change and have no place in our sport. I've been surrounded by these attitudes and targeted my whole life. There has been plenty of time to learn. Time has come for action. The unfortunate reality of the modern world is that some people either can't be bothered to change their mindset or don't want to." Like Lewis says, the type of mindset shown by Yuri Vips and Nelson Piquet is completely archaic and has no place in sport or modern society. This weekend's British Grand Prix is the first anniversary of the incident that Piquet was talking about in the podcast, when he used a racial slur to describe Hamilton, which was one of a series of coming-togethers between Hamilton and Verstappen as they disputed last year's world title. An F1 statement said, "Discriminatory or racist language is unacceptable in any form and has no part in society. Lewis is an incredible ambassador for our sport and deserves respect." It added, "His tireless efforts to increase diversity and inclusion are a lesson to many, and something we are committed to at F1. These incidents happen over and over again in sports around the world. An influential figure in the sport expresses an opinion that is completely unacceptable and incredibly offensive. People then speak up, saying that it's unacceptable, and that they support the person that has been racially abused. But very rarely is anything said against the person that used the racial slur. This is exactly what has happened here as well." Mercedes said, "We condemn in the strongest terms any use of racist or discriminatory language of any kind. Lewis has spearheaded our sport's efforts to combat racism, and he is a true champion of diversity on and off the track. Together, we share a vision for a diverse and inclusive motorsport, and this incident underlines the fundamental importance of continuing to strive for a brighter future. The FIA, motorsport's governing body, said, "The FIA strongly condemns any racist or discriminatory language and behavior, which have no place in sport or wider society. We express our solidarity with Lewis Hamilton and fully support his commitment to equality, diversity, and inclusion in motorsport." While these statements are supportive of Hamilton, they don't address the issue or speak of any action that will be taken to help resolve what is happening, which is disappointing. Racism may not affect all of us, but it is all of our responsibilities to make it stop. As a racing community, we should be highlighting the racist actions of people and informing them of why those points of view aren't acceptable at racetracks anywhere in the world. PA Sports' Philip Duncan has reported that Piquet's access to the F1 paddock could be revoked if he doesn't issue a public apology to Hamilton. There hasn't been a public statement yet from Piquet, but would there be anything he could say that would redeem him? He can apologize for what he said, probably by saying he made a mistake, but he didn't make a mistake. He used the language he wanted to use to describe how he felt about Hamilton. He wasn't accidentally racist, this is just the view he holds. At the start of the 2022 season, Formula One boss Stefano Domenicali said it was time to move from gestures to action to increase diversity in motorsport. The F1 president and chief executive officer Domenicali told Sky Sports, "We need to make sure that what we did was important to show the intention of Formula One in things that were really important for the world. Now it's a matter of changing gesture to action. Now the action is the focus on the diversity of our community, and this program for students is the first step." Domenicali is talking about a scholarship program that Formula One extended until 2025 at the start of the year. It aims to support students from underrepresented backgrounds throughout university. The sport will pay the full tuition costs of 10 students each year on engineering degrees in the UK and Italy. This is a great action that will hopefully open up opportunities for people who normally wouldn't have a chance to be part of Formula One. While this was good action by F1, the FIA's president Mohammed Ben Sulayem questioned whether drivers should be allowed to express their views on issues like racism later in the season. Ben Sulayem said in an interview with Grand Prix 247, "Vettel drives a rainbow bicycle, Lewis is passionate about human rights, and Lando Norris addresses mental health. Everybody has the right to think. To me, it is about deciding whether we should impose our beliefs in something over the sport all the time. I'm from an Arabian culture. I am international and Muslim. I do not impose my beliefs on other people. No way, never." A day after the interview was published, he seemed to row back on his remarks, posting on Twitter, "As a driver, I've always believed in sport as a catalyst of progress in society. This is why promoting sustainability, diversity, and inclusion is a key priority of my mandate. In the same way, I value the commitment of all drivers and champions for a better future." It is amazing how these people seem to change their points of view after expressing them to the world, isn't it? In an official news conference before the race in Baku, Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel, Fernando Alonso, Charles Leclerc, and Nicholas Latifi were asked whether they had confidence in Ben Sulayem and the FIA. None of them wanted to answer the question, which tells you everything you need to know about the drivers' views on Ben Sulayem's statement, asking them to stop highlighting human rights issues. It is incredibly sad that we still have to fight back against the prejudiced views of people in our society. Motor racing is a sport that should be open and accepting of whomever wants to be a part of it, whether that is as a competitor, a contributor, or a fan, regardless of their background. Nelson Piquet and Yuri Vips aren't the first and they won't be the last. But hopefully, those who still judge based on skin color can learn something from the community's response to these two's actions. What more do you think we as a community can be doing to eliminate racism from motor racing? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye bye.